everyone, this is a trader investor. In this video I want to follow up on the WM formation, V lambda formations for precise entry on Forex, and following the market maker moves as we anticipate what to do next. But my follow-up is more around why I am suggesting to exit your positions at the end of the New York session, or maybe even at the end of your trading session. And hopefully your trading session is either the London session or the New York session, because the Asia session, which is boxed in white here, is a very narrow range most of the time. It's just during a time where the banks and institutions are having their consolidation to take the price in the direction that they want, but they will spike the highs or the lows in most cases. And so I prefer for you not to trade this session. And so the London session or the New York session is where we do our entries. So let's start by having the conversation why I said we need to make sure that we are trading our stops and also exiting at the end of the New York session. Because once you enter a position, you don't want to wake up and have that position be in the negative, or maybe at best break even. That's not what you want to see. So you want to protect your gains. So here yesterday, when a W was formed and there was an entry, and during the London session, whoever entered the London session, the high was about 40 pips. And if you had entered the New York session at the break of this railroads, the high was about 25 pips. So in both scenarios, if you did not exit when you were coming to these highs during the New York session, even at the close of the New York session, if you are not exiting your position, then you woke up to a major pain. Major pain being, if you had entered the New York session, then you woke up at a negative account. You're already either hitting your stop loss, or if you have too wide of a stop, you're in a lot of pain and subject to margin calls depending on your account size. If you had entered the London session, then maybe you woke up early enough during the London session and you were able to protect maybe 5-10 pips, but that's all you could have done, because during the Asia session, while you were asleep, the market had already reversed course. So very, very critical that you look at your entry. If you're entering London session, sometimes during the New York session, before you go to bed, are you exiting your position? If you're entering the New York session, sometimes before the end of the session, are you exiting your trade? Are you protecting your gains, or at least maximizing how much you can gain by moving your stops? So are you doing those two? So Aussie dollar experienced that. New Zealand dollar, the Kiwi dollar, same thing. If you had entered at the W in the London session, you didn't get your 50 pips, but did you protect your 25 pips? Did you exit during the New York session? Very, very important to look at that. And one more thing, just talking about exits, and I'll come back to CAD yen in a little bit, but if you had entered this position short, did you exit? So you would have entered this if you were trading the London session. New York session did not give you any buys. So if you entered during the London session, there was about a 40 pip move here. And so when the price moved about 40-45 pips, were you happy enough at the reversal, when you got this reversal, to exit somewhere here? Or did you just say, I must get 50? So at this pin here, at this entry, let's go short, not long. At this entry here, if we say about 45 pips. So when you saw this and price did not want to go all the way through to 50 pips, did you look at this bar here and exited at about 35 pips? You put your stop there, or manually just exited your trade? Or did you wait for 50? Did you wait for 50, which never came? And did you wake up stopped out, or being close to being stopped out? This is, for me, this is very, very painful to go down 45 pips and reverse back and only be up, 5-10 pips. This is a very painful experience. This is why I say if you're close to 50 and you see some sign of reversal, exit. Even if it's 35, 30, exit. Protecting 25, exit. Right? Maybe you put your stop at 25 and hoping that it will go back down further, and that doesn't happen. You exit at 25. At least you've protected 25 instead of giving back a lot of your gains overnight. So this is why it's critical that you do that. And now let's see why we would have gone short here during the London session. So we had the move up. Yesterday I already said it's making the 1-2 leg down. That's my expectation. So going to the 15 minutes, because we already had move 1, level 1, this is level 2, I'm okay to enter when price spikes the high of the Asia session. That's your lambda entry. That's your lambda entry here. That's your lambda entry. And when you form an upside down pin, then at the break of that low of that pin, this is where I would enter to go short the 50 pips. I don't get the 50 pips, it's okay. I don't trade the London session, so this is something, if you were trading London session, hopefully you took advantage of this. And then during the New York session, I did not see anything that tells me there is another lambda forming or an M forming for me to enter. So that's where it is. And going back then to Aussie and Kiwi, one after the other. In Aussie, our expectation was we had already moved 1, consolidate 2, consolidate 3, and we were reversing. So in the reversal, 1 has happened. I'm expecting 2 to happen. So that was my expectation. That was why I said yesterday, this is an entry. If you had taken this entry, it's a valid entry. But the market makers, their move was to say, no, we've changed our mind. We want another leg down. So that's why they took the price down. So during the London session, there was no indication or there was no signal to enter for me, because, at the 4 hours, when I am seeing that I'm expecting, this is level 1, I'm expecting 2 and 3, and I get to see a down move. Maybe this was level 1, level 2, and they're expecting to do their level 3. Close this imbalance here. They really took care of that imbalance. And so maybe now the price is going to reverse. So I want to see what the Asia session does. And if I will make the assumption that this was level 3, I read the first part wrong. Not that, we can all get it perfectly right all the time, but we can read it wrong, and it's okay to read it wrong. And we just reassess and re-enter. So if I had said level 3 was complete, but it was only level 2 when I made that assumption, and today is level 3, then we will see, did they make the low of the day, the low of the week, and now they're going to reverse from here. And so I want to see what the Asia session does for our entry. So basically that's what I want to look at. And it's something similar in the Kiwi, right? So we had gone long, but they decided to take it short for a bit. So is this level 3? Are we going to see the Asia session give us a reversal of that low point is this low of day and also low of week that they're going to reverse, that have their midweek reversal. So that's what I want to look at. And then looking at the yen, the yen was, let's go to the 4-hour chart. The yen was down, up. Now I'm looking for down. So we've already made that one move, level 1. I'm expecting level 2 today, because yesterday was our level 1. So if yesterday was level 1 and today is level 2, what this gave us is, it gave us a good M during the London session, but that M came a little late. Or did you want to consider it as a lambda? So the lambda being right here, if that's was good enough entry, because they have already did their stop hunt high, then you do not wait for a for an M formation, which is also fine. And so your entry here, when you have this pin bar, your entry here, you know, very tight stop. I go to about 10, and where did price go to? It went to about 40 pips. Not quite 40 pips, but it went to about 40 pips. Is that good enough? Because if you are trading the London session, did you see a reversal and protected your gains and exited? Right, so that was critical. And so now at the end of the New York session, what did they do? They went as far low as they wanted to go, and they reversed it and consolidated. So that's, they're in that consolidation phase right now again. So we will see what the market will do once the Asia session opens, how wide they want this consolidation to be. GJ was a little bit interesting, because we saw during the London session, we saw an M formation. Now it's a little bit tricky here. The M formation came right outside my window. Under normal circumstances, I would not take this, but if you wanted to risk it and take this position, you have a stop of about 20 pips or so. GJ moves nicely, so this really moved. So you would have made it, but I most likely would have missed it, because it came outside my window, right? So I wouldn't be looking at the charts or entering any new positions. So that's how I would look at it. EJ, I did not have any clean spike up, right? No stop hunt high. I did not have a good lambda to enter. There was one maybe that came after the window, right? This between midnight and 3 a.m. Pacific time. That's my window for the London session. So during that window, I did not get an entry. Therefore, no signal, no entry. So this is how I'm looking at all of these charts. And CAD yen, same thing. But like I said, I saw this spike here during the London session, so you could have entered that position. And make sure at the end of your trading session, if you have your gains, please don't give them up. If you're not able to monitor the New York session at the end of your London session, just get out of that position. There's nothing wrong with that. Just get out of that position at 40 pips, 35 pips, 30 pips, 25 pips. But don't give it all back. Don't give it all back to where you wake up the next day and price is almost closing that distance from your entry. You don't want to do that, right? Right now, in London, they're asleep, so this could continue to do this, and you'll be stopped out. You have your stops here, you'll be stopped out. So please don't do that. Right? Make sure you, whatever session you're trading, take your pips and get out. Get the funds out for sure. That's what I want to recommend. So I just wanted to do a follow through of yesterday's teaching and show you additional videos, on the next day, what to expect, what happens, and how do we look at the market. All right, everyone, don't forget to like this video, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.